Into one of our top stories tonight, ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa today presenting what the party is calling its Economic Action Plan and outlined a list of 10 interventions. He's explained that the measures are meant to advance the objectives of the National Development Plan, as well as support the government's economic agenda and align with the medium-term strategic development plan. Duma Gqubule is an economist and research associate with the Social Policy Initiative. Joins us now to talk more about this. Duma, good to have you back with us. So the Economic Action Plan is out as of noon today. As far as economic action plans go, does it go far enough to prevent the country from slipping into further economic ruin?
No, it doesn't go far enough. I just have to say, South Africans must understand the context that we are in. The president talked about persistent low economic growth. From 2009 to 2024, we grew at 1.1% a year. By comparison, 155 emerging and developing countries cruised to 4.4% growth over the same period. And the emerging and developing Asia grew by 6.3%. That is a period that includes the global financial crisis of 2009 and 2008 to 2010 and the COVID pandemic. Now, why is South Africa having this consistently low GDP growth? Last year, GDP per capita was lower than it was in 2007. It will continue to decline this year. We will have had 18 years of declining average living standards. I've lost count of how many recovery plans we've had over this period. We had the national development, we had a new growth path, we had the national development plan, we had the Treasury strategy of 2019 or 2018, we had the Economic Recovery and Reconstruction Recovery Plan, and all of them have failed. So what we're seeing now is just a recycling and repackaging of previous plans. And I just have to mention, unemployment and low economic growth are macroeconomic policy problems. So as long as we have a situation where National Treasury is targeting a primary budget surplus target of 2% of GDP, they are sucking out 2% of GDP out of the budget, out of the economy, and the Reserve Bank is targeting 3% inflation. That means interest rates will be higher for longer. So this is what's working against us because of these the macroeconomic policy issues. Now, if we go through this plan, infrastructure, there will be no 1 trillion rand infrastructure spend. There will be no stimulus to the economy from infrastructure spending. Infrastructure spending will decline from 4.2% of GDP this year to 3.9% of GDP at the end of this period. So what we are seeing is infrastructure, the shortfall to meet the NDP targets is about 1.5 trillion. That gives you an idea of the scale of the crisis that we have. Now, when we come to this economic recovery plan, it hinges on one sector, which is energy. And how can you have a huge economic recovery plan? 70%, 80% hinges on one sector to get us to employ. We've got 12.6 million people who are unemployed. We've got an unemployment rate of 42.9%, the second highest unemployment rate in the world. And you expect that energy alone will be the one that gets us out of this crisis.
Right.
Now, if you look
on
at
that point, just on that point, Duma, you mentioned energy. One of the other things that came up here was about rebuilding the chrome and manganese industries, improve state capacity, drive local economic investment. From that list then, is there anything that is workable, especially when you consider that in its presentation today, the ANC says it would like to see tangible results from the implementation plan as soon as 2027, which is in about 2 years or less?
Okay, so they talked about preferential electricity tariffs for these industries. So now, if you look at it from 2009, the same period I'm talking about, to 2008 to 2025 now, employment in manufacturing has gone down from 14% of total employment to about 9.9% of total employment. There's been employment peaked at 2.1 million people, and there's been a bloodbath. It's gone down quite significantly over the same period. And one of the main reasons for this is this unprecedented increase in electricity prices. So what you've had is that they've increased by about 700% the last time I looked. And this has broken the manufacturing sector. It has killed plants in the chrome industry. Ferrochrome smelters are shutting down. And so what the government is planning to do now, I suspect it could be too little, too late, because it has been going down for. Let's take ferrochrome. They need 24/7 smelters working. But what we've had is during 2018 to 2024, we had unprecedented 6 years of darkness, and they could not handle it anymore. And now, I don't know where to start to continue. So I suspect people have been telling me today that it is salvageable in terms of what's happening in the ferrochrome industry, but we'll wait and see. Yeah.
By the time hawks tell me that you and I have about 2 minutes left, so I want us to push through as much as we can. I mentioned that 2027 self-imposed deadline for tangible results to be reported that the ANC laid out today. What would need to happen between now and then to achieve any sort of tangible progress, especially in the context, as you were saying, of almost 2 decades of decline?
Yes. Now, the first thing, if they're looking to the next election, they have to provide a plan in terms of the resources that will be invested in municipalities, local government. Because currently the problem is there's a false belief that municipalities can self-finance themselves. There are massive infrastructure requirements. They can't self-finance themselves. And you can't get it from the private sector. The solution to every problem from the government is to get the money from the private sector. So they have to create a plan, they have to have a Marshall Plan to invest resources in the municipalities, because they can't address these massive infrastructure problems that we're seeing in Joburg, which has become a dangerous and filthy slum, and the cities throughout the rest of the country. So unless we get macroeconomic, stop this austerity policies that are sucking money out of the economy, 2% of GDP every single year for these primary budget surpluses, and start investing in the people and the infrastructure of our country, and the economy will revive. But we can't have a revival in this economy with these austerity policies here.
And then just lastly, a point about this war room, an economic war room, which will be established. It will live in the presidency. The aim is to coordinate cross-government performance, monitoring and publishing updates on progress. How helpful is that going to be? And isn't it doubling up, for example, on the function of a ministry that already exists in government led by Marupeni Ramokgopa?
Yeah, it's performative. It's just, whenever there's a problem in South Africa, you set up a commission or a war room. And this war room, we already have Operation Vulindlela in the president, and it gives us regular reports. And Operation Vulindlela has been there for 5 years. Where are the results of Operation Vulindlela in terms of GDP growth and jobs? There have been no results. So the ANC has to take seriously the issue of this economy. I'm really disappointed that the NEC, after spending 2 meetings in August and now, they can't come up with something better. We have to get a proper plan to get this economy going. Yeah.
Duma Gqubule, good to talk to you as always. Duma Gqubule is an economist and research associate with the Social Policy Initiative.